Hey everybody, welcome back to 2 Acres Evolving. Today I'm going to be working on my hydrangeas in several different parts of my yard. Since the temperatures have been so nice out, the buds have started coming out, so it's time for me to go in and fertilize the hydrangeas and prune them back. Now with hydrangeas, you want to be very careful with pruning because there's some hydrangeas that bloom on old wood and there's some that bloom on new wood. If you have a hydrangea that blooms on old wood and you go in and prune it, then you won't get any blooms for that season. But if you have hydrangeas that bloom on new wood, then you could go in late winter or early spring and cut them back about 1/3 of their size, and that'll strengthen the plant and they will still bloom that season. So let me go ahead and turn the camera around and show you what I'm going to be doing. All right, the first area that I'm going to be working on is the Hydrangea hedge that I have back behind my pond area. I have 9 firelight hydrangeas in this area, and these hydrangeas will get pretty big. They'll get up to 6 to 8 feet tall and wide, so they'll really fill in this back corner over here. But what I need to do now, because the buds have started coming out, I need to go in and prune them back and fertilize them. The reason why you want to wait for the buds to start coming out to fertilize them is because that's whenever it's going to be actively growing, and that's when it will access the nutrients that you give it. If you go in and fertilize it too early, then that means you could be wasting some of that fertilizer. So what I have to do, I have some leaves that I need to clean out. I have leaves around the base of pretty much all the hydrangeas. I left the leaves there to help protect them during the winter, but these hydrangeas are really winter hardy, so I really wasn't worried too much about them. So I'm going to come in, and I have some leaves back in the corner, so I'm going to come in and clean all the leaves out of this area, and then I'll get you closer and show you how I'm going to be pruning these and fertilizing them. That right there is what I'm talking about, the buds. They're starting to green up, so when you see this, that tells you that it's the perfect time to go in and prune and fertilize the hydrangeas. Alright, I wanted to get you all a little bit closer so you all could see exactly what I'm doing. These firelight hydrangeas are a paniculated type hydrangea. They bloom on new wood, so that's why I'm able to come in late winter, early spring, and prune these down. Now you want to prune them down to about 1/3 of their size. These aren't very big yet, so I won't have to prune very much off, but when they get to the 6 to 8 foot size, I'll have to prune off quite a bit more, about 2 feet off of them each year. But since they're this small right now, I won't have to cut much off. Now, when you're cutting them, you want to cut right above one of the buds. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and cut it about 1/3 of its size, and I'm going to cut out any weak stems. Like this one right here is real weak and thin, so I'll just come in and cut it off right at the base. Along with this one and this one, and all the other ones look pretty good. So then what you want to do is you want to make sure to cut out any dead stems. Now I've gone through here and looked at most of these, and I'm not seeing any dead on them, so that's good, so I won't have to worry about that. If you have any branches that are crossing each other and the branches are going to be rubbing up against each other, you want to take care of that problem as well. So with this one, I'm just going to come in and about right here. I have this bud right here, so I'm just going to cut right above it. And I'm going to do that on all of them and just kind of give this a nice shape. So there, now I didn't cut very much off of it. Like I said earlier, these aren't very big, so I'm not going to have to cut much off this year. But coming in and trimming it up every year will help create a stronger plant. So now that I have the hydrangeas cut back, I wanted to talk about this hydrangea for a minute and another one that I'll be showing you in just a second. This one is called City Line Paris, and it's a big leaf hydrangea. This one I wanted to show you because it is a hydrangea that blooms on old wood. So that means that it will set the blooms on the stems from the previous year. So this one I do not want to prune back at all. What you want to do with these is you want to put them in an area that you can let them get as big as they want, and you don't have to cut them back or prune them or anything like that. Now you can see that there is some growth down there at the bottom, and then this one has buds all over it as well. So I'm really excited to see how this one does this year. I will be fertilizing this one today, just like I'm fertilizing the paniculata hydrangeas that I just cut back. The only difference is I'm not going to be pruning this one at all. And then the other one is over on the other side of my yard. Let me go take you over there. This one is called Tough Stuff Red, and this one is a mountain hydrangea. This one is a combination of the two that I just talked about. This one can bloom on old wood and new wood. So this one, if you need to cut it back, you can, and you'll still get blooms that season. However, this one, I'm just going to leave it alone. I have it over in the corner of this flower bed over here, and I'm just going to let it get as big as it wants. And this one has some growth down at the bottom as well. So I will be fertilizing this one as well. And before I start fertilizing the plants, I want to take you out front and give you an update on something that I did a few weeks ago. So let me go ahead and take you up there. Okay, so I wanted to show you the grass up here because if you remember last month I came out and I sprayed it for weeds. I sprayed a pre-emergent down on it, and you can tell, I mean, there's a little bit of weeds out here, but there's not a whole lot in the area that I sprayed. You can tell quite a bit more. There's quite a bit more weeds over here in this area that I did not spray. And then you come this way where I did spray, and there's hardly any weeds. So it definitely worked. All right, so the two different types of fertilizer that I'm going to be using today is Holly Tone and Plant Tone. On all of the hydrangeas that I've shown today, I'm going to be using Holly Tone. And then on all of my other plants, I'm going to be using Plant Tone. Now there's detailed instructions on the back of the bags that explain how to put down the fertilizer. So what I'm going to be doing is, it says to put 1 cup of fertilizer for each foot of diameter around the drip line. Now when it mentions the drip line of a plant, it means the outer branches or the outer leaves. That's where the water drips off the leaves and lands on the ground. That would be the drip line of the plant. So with these are still pretty small, so I would say they're probably about maybe 2.5 foot diameter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 2 cups of fertilizer around each plant around the drip line. And another good thing about these is the fertilizer is organic. So even if you go in and you accidentally put a little bit too much fertilizer, it's not going to burn your plants or anything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on the hydrangeas first, and then I'm going to go in and fertilize all of my other plants after that. All right, so I wanted to give you a close-up view of what I'm doing, and then I'll just go through and fertilize the rest of them. So I'm going to be using just a regular plastic cup like this, and I measured it out, and 1 full cup is about 2 cups of fertilizer. So I'm just going to fill these up on each hydrangea and then circle it around. All right, so I'm going to go around the drip line of the plant like this. And then I'll just use my hand to scratch it down in underneath the mulch. And then also what I will do after I go through and fertilize all of them, I'll come through and water them in real good. So I got most of my plants fertilized. I'm gonna have to go get some more plant tone. I've still got a few that I need to go in and fertilize, but not very many more. So it's a little time consuming to go in and fertilize all the plants, but it'll definitely be worth it in the end. Before I go, I wanted to give an update on these variegated privet shrubs. These are evergreen. However, when we got the cold temperatures down to -13, the leaves died back on them, and I was really worried about them. I just knew that the cold had killed these. But I noticed the other day that there are new buds coming out. So when I saw that, I was very happy, because I do not want to lose these. I like the way these look up here. I really appreciate you all coming along with me as I came out and got this tour done. I cannot wait to see what all my plants do this season and what all the new plants are going to look like whenever I get them all in. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching this video, and we'll see you in the next one.